To make accessing the cover for the engine easier, I'm going to take this seat out. It's very easy. 4 18mm bolts. Some of them will have a little cover like this, which we'll have to remove in a second, and some won't, such as this one at the front here. You can see the nut will be exposed down there, so let's go ahead and unthread it. There's one on each corner, so we'll just go around and remove them all. Nut number 2. On the back side, let's pull these caps off, and that'll expose the 2 rear nuts. Last one. Now I'm just going to lift the seat up, pull it out of here, tilt it back. There's wiring attached, but I'm not going to disconnect it. I'm just going to leave it as is. I went ahead and did the same thing to the passenger side so I can have both areas clear to pull the doghouse off. And on both sides, on the driver's side it's next to the gas pedal, on the other side it's, well, the opposite. On the other side it's, well, in the same area, just on the other side. Lift this flap up, and that's going to unlock the latch for the doghouse. The next thing I want to do is remove this knee panel. It's held on by 2 10mm bolts, one over here, and the rest is just push clips. So once those are out, we'll pop it off. Pull straight out. Take down the kick panel here, the knee panel, 2 10mm bolts. There's one. There's the second one. And at this point you can just pull it straight out on it. At this point, grab it from the side, pull straight out. Okay. Underneath the center console / cup holder, there are 2 more clips that we have to undo. I have a panel here that's missing. It's like a little pocket. Either way, open that up, and there's going to be 2 10mm bolts right behind it. Remove both. There are 2 more up top. Now this entire unit can be removed, and it will expose these 2 clips. This one's already loose. That's nice. So is this one. Now you can lift this up, pull it out. Pull straight back as you lift up, and there you go. You have access to the backside of your engine. Next, I want to unplug all the spark plug wires. Just set those aside. That way we can pull the ignition coils off. If you can't reach this one from here, you can reach it through the fender well. I'm going to unclip this wiring harness. Just pry it up like that. Some more wiring over here. Pop that up. Some more all the way in the back here. Be careful of how you pry. You don't want to break or damage anything. Then I'm going to take a 10mm socket, remove all these nuts that hold this bracket on, that holds all the ignition coils. 10mm socket, remove these nuts. Okay, there's one more at the end that you can get through the fender well. You can grab this now, unplug this wiring harness over here. And slide it out. There we go. I'm gonna get a vacuum and clean all this up because that's a lot of debris. So you always want to make sure the area is clean. At this point, you have several 8mm bolts that hold on the valve cover, and that is all. One over here. Might as well pull the PCV out while I'm here. These are all free. Break the valve cover free from the gasket. That's most likely going to make it be stuck in there. Carefully take it out. And there it is. At this point, I want to clean up the area where the new gasket is going to sit. I'm going to use a dry rag at first, and then I'll go around with some brake parts cleaner on a rag and make sure that it's a nice smooth surface. If you have to, you can also use a razor blade to scrape off any old debris. Just go around like this and make sure that you scrape away from the engine, not towards the engine. Spray a little bit of brake parts cleaner on a rag and then go around the whole surface once you've used a razor blade or whatever you used on the whole thing, and just degrease it. Make sure no debris falls in the engine here or in the head. If it does, just go ahead and pick it out. And if your rag starts shredding itself like this, just turn it over to where it's still intact. All right, it's a nice clean surface. Get the new valve cover on. Your new valve cover should come with a gasket already installed. Just line it up, make sure that the gasket doesn't fall off, of course. Press the bolts down, line them up with their corresponding threads. Start them in by hand. This one started, perfect. These inserts can move around, so the problem is you have to aim for the hole without actually knowing where you're aiming. Oh, there we go. All right, so 3 of the 4 are started, and 4 out of 4. Awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and gently snug these up. 106 inch-pounds is the torque for these 4 bolts, or 8.8 foot-pounds is what it converts to. I'm gonna start in the center, work my way out. Okay, I'm just going to double check them all. There we go. We have to connect this PCV hose to the PCV valve here. This valve cover comes with one built into it, so we'll have to take this old one off of here, which should just pop off. This is a cover for the hose, which I'm going to peel back like this and just pull out on this. Stick the hose onto the valve cover over the new fitting and make sure it's bottomed out completely. I'm actually going to cut this insulation back a little bit so I can see what's going on. There we go. I need to see where the hose is sitting, because if it's not sitting on properly, you get vacuum leaks and then you have issues. So it's important to see what's happening here. If you feel the need for it, you can also put a clamp on here to hold it in tight. Just press it down all the way. It should seal up. It's not going to go down 100%. If you have the strength to push it, go for it, but this is good. The hose was already slightly beveled from the old PCV valve. Let's get the coil pack assembly back in. Get this wire out of the way. Might as well get it connected. There we go. Line all of this up. And last one, I'm going to start from inside the fender well. Go ahead and bottom these out. Make sure they're nice and snug. Okay, again, last one from inside the fender well. But while I'm here, I might as well re-secure the harness that I popped off. Last thing to do is to reconnect your spark plug wires. I already have dielectric grease on them, or silicone paste. If you don't, I suggest putting some on. It helps prevent corrosion and it helps the rubber not stick in the future. When you put these on, make sure they click fully. This last one, there we go. Oh, nope, there we don't go. There we go. All right, so those are all set. Make sure that they're not touching the exhaust manifold. Turn them in whichever direction you need to avoid that, because you don't want the wire itself to melt. Let's put the cover back on for the engine. It should just slide right in, but of course be careful of any wires that are hanging down. I'm not sure if these were supposed to be tied up here or if someone has added these, but if you have them, make sure they're out of the way, and if you don't, well, don't worry about it. So just slide it. Make sure that this rubber seal here doesn't pop off. It can easily fall, and then it doesn't make a seal. You get water, potentially exhaust fumes in here. It's not good. So slide it in all the way and make sure that it lines up with its points where it clips in. Looks like I have to shift it to the driver's side a little bit. There we go. All right, that just fell into position. Let's latch it on. Just like that. We'll do the same on the bottom here. And of course, the same on the driver's side. Don't forget about this air vent that goes in here. Just slide it in. It has these little pins that kind of help it stay in place. Let's put the cup holder back. It's got 4 10mm bolts. Line it up. And we'll go ahead and start these in. There are 2 on the bottom, and a little bit harder to see, but there are 2 on the top here. Let's see if I can start them in like this. Okay, snug them up. Typically you'd have another pocket or a compartment that latches in here. Mine is completely broken off and I don't have it, but obviously if you have yours, go ahead and put it back. Let's put this knee panel on the passenger side. It's got clips along the top that need to slide into these slots here. Okay, and then 2 10mm bolts on the bottom. That's 1. That's 2. Same on the driver's side, clips all along the top. And 2 10mm bolts that hold it on the bottom. Somewhere. Here they are. All right, let's put the seats back. Let's bring the seats back and line them up with their corresponding mounting studs. Oops, make sure you don't pinch any wiring. And drop it down. Let's put the nuts on. There's 1 on each corner. Let's bottom them out. Make sure they're nice and tight. All right. Okay, last one out of the 4. Again, there's 1 on each corner. Make sure they are all nice and tight. All right, let's do the same to the passenger side if you took both seats out. And don't forget about these little covers. Put those back to hide the bolts, or the studs. Last bolt on the passenger side. Again, 4 on each corner. Make sure they are nice and tight. Okay, this one unfortunately didn't have any little caps for me, but at this point you can go ahead and turn on the engine, take it for a road test.